Welcome to the Chiro Business Mojo podcast, where we deconstruct the methods, marketing, and mindset of successful business people and chiropractors from around the world. And now your host, Dr. Richard Day. Hello, I am Dr. Richard Day, and this is the Chiro Business Mojo podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today I am fired up because I am excited about this topic as usual. I am excited about how to grow your practice and more specifically, how to utilize low and no cost methods to grow your practice. These are some of the things we're doing in our practices right now that continually bring us business. Now, one of the things that's important to remember is that there is no magic bullet. There is no chiropractic marketing drive-through where we just go up to the menu and we say, hey, I'd like to get some more business. I'm going to get the number 3 and let me get a little bit of extra patient referrals with that. And can I also get a few, let me get some PI cases. Can I add that as well? Sounds good. I'm going to pull through to the second window and pay and go ahead and get that quick silver bullet to go out and just plug it in and make this practice happen. Does not work like that, I am sorry to say. What does work and what we have found that works over the years are consistency and these things I'm going to share with you. Now, you can always pay for marketing. You can do that. You can go out and pay $500 or $1,000 for mailers. You can do door-to-door flyers or door hangers. We've done those things in the past, and we still do them from time to time. But what we find that really works in our practices is referral-based business. And those are the best kinds of patients, because what happens is they already know you. They don't know you personally maybe, but they know of you because a loved one, a trusted someone in their life has referred them directly in. Or maybe they did meet you personally at some event. So some of the things we are going to talk about today are the types of events where you can meet patients. And I want to tell you a quick story. So in our practice, I was treating a patient one time, and she had been a regular patient for a while, and she said, hey, Dr. Day, I want to tell you I was recently at a church camp or retreat I went to, and all of us ladies were in a room. There were about 10 of us in there, and we started talking, and I said, I see a chiropractor, and someone else said, I see a chiropractor too, and it turned out 8 out of the 10 people in that room, I was their chiropractor. Now, it was an honor and a privilege to find out that I was able to serve these people and be that person. I mean, that's 80% of the people in the room were seeing me. And believe me, I'm very humbled by that. I was also struck by the power of networking. I had met these people individually at a town event, and I networked them one-on-one in person, and they all ended up coming into our practice. So this stuff works, guys. It's a way to get out there. So if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I've interviewed a number of new docs in the field, and what they are consistently telling me is that it's the personal connections that are getting people in their door and growing their practice. So if you are new, these are things that you are going to want to do in your practice. And if you have been around a while, maybe there are things you haven't done in a while, and it's time to get back to them. Number 1, business networking groups. Right when I went into practice, I joined Business Networking International. If you haven't heard of it, it is a business networking group that's very organized. There are presidents and vice presidents and people like that, and they're all over in major metropolitan areas, and they only allow one person per profession or category. So I was the only chiropractor in my group, and the great part about that is that you're not competing with other chiropractors. The people within that group, and there may be realtors and bankers and plumbers, and there's usually a Mary Kay or maybe a few network marketing people in there. They're all in there, and they're going to refer their business to you. Additionally, you have the ability to give a 1-minute commercial in the meetings, and they're usually weekly meetings, for your business. So you stand up and you say, hello, I am Dr. Richard Day. I am with XYZ Chiropractic. This is what we specialize in. This is what chiropractic can do for you. Above and beyond that, group members are asked to give a 10-minute presentation, and they do this, they rotate through the members. So this is a wonderful time where you can, or a wonderful chance where you can give a PowerPoint presentation and talk a little more in depth about what chiropractic is. And you've got an audience there who is listening because they're listening for ways that they can help refer business to you. They can explain your business to people that they come in contact with. And you're going to return that favor because they're going to be giving their presentations as well so that you can learn how to best refer them clientele. Also, there are one-on-ones, or what they call them, sometimes one-to-ones. And what that is you're going to pick one person and you're going to maybe go to lunch or coffee with them. And it's a chance for you to both share ideas and educate each other on your particular business, in this case, chiropractic. If there is not a BNI group in your area, or if there is but the spot is already taken, go to meetup.com. Meetup, if you haven't discovered it already, has dog lovers that get together, entrepreneurial, like-minded folks that get together for coffee. And this is what we recently did in one of our practice locations. All the BNI groups were full. No more chiropractors, and they kept saying, well, we might be starting a new chapter in your area. We'll let you know in 6 months. Well, we don't have 6 months. I am ready to really push this thing through the roof right now. So we got on meetup.com and we formed our own group. And we aren't the only ones. There are other people doing this. Now, BNI is a little more rigid in that they don't require you to give referrals, but there's definitely a push there. We are a little more laid back. We also don't meet weekly. BNI, one of the drawbacks is it's very expensive. It's about $400 per year. In ours, we charge much less, about $35 per year, and you can bump that up depending on your expenses. But these are starting to crop up more and more. People are realizing they don't necessarily need a company like BNI taking a lot of money to be able to have a successful way to refer business to each other. So if you don't join a BNI, I suggest you get on or you can do this in addition as well. I suggest you get on meetup.com and start your own group. There are certain ways you want to run them. There are certain things you want to do. We've created forms for ours and processes. It really makes things structured, and people respect that. They all need to get back to their business and run it. So if you are running a meeting of this type on your own, without a BNI or one of the other groups behind you, make sure that you have a meeting that starts on time and ends on time, because people do need to get to work. And it's that sort of structure that will keep people coming back. And eventually, people will start sharing referrals. We already have in our business or in our group, and it's only been around about 5 weeks, but we are passing business. We are tracking that business, and it's growing with more and more members each week. Look at social groups that meet on a regular basis. Rotary, Kiwanis clubs, Optimist clubs. These clubs meet and they are starved for guest speakers. They would love to have someone come in and talk to them about anything. And it can be old-time railroad, World War II vets. I've seen a lot go through there. But if you come in, I recommend that you don't give them a commercial for your particular business or a quote-unquote hard sell. Come in with some education. Look at the news. Look what's being talked about. The Zika virus is a big one in the news right now. Sometimes it's hypertension, heart disease, diabetes. We know a lot as chiropractors, and the public is really looking for people who are experts who can come educate them, because everything in the news obviously isn't true. There's a lot of gloom and doom and scary stuff out there. So if someone can come in and represent that, and sometimes even represent alternatives to treatments that people normally get. We all, as chiropractors, we know the benefits of non-invasive conservative care that we provide. So those sorts of things, real world issues, you can go in and talk to them. And even better than that, see if you can join the groups. If you can, become the vice president or the president, but have a role in those groups. That's going to put you in touch with people, and those people are going to talk to you. And eventually, I'm telling you, some of these people are going to become your patients. Toastmasters is another group. Now, this one, I really like Toastmasters. What that is, it's a group that specializes in training you on how to become a good public speaker. So you go to these groups, there may be $50 or less per year to join. And they have a workbook that starts with a series of speeches that you're going to give. And they're really only 5 to 8 minutes long. And over in surveys, the number one fear that people have is public. As a chiropractor, the better you can express words and ideas to your patient base, the more successful you are going to be. A lot of people think, well, it's the technique. I have magic hands, and that's what's setting me apart. Even people with the magic hands, they need to be able to speak to their patients. They need to be able to educate them and let them know what's going on with their bodies. There's a number of reasons why being a good public speaker can really enhance and benefit your career, and this is a great way to go do it. One of the first speeches, the very first one they have you do, is you talk about yourself. You give your life story. And it's really easy because we're so familiar with our own stories. It's easy to get up there and talk about them. It's a very comfortable environment, very positive feedback. One of the things they do is count ums and ahs. And I'm telling you, I had no idea how often I said and ah until someone sat there and counted them all and told me. And it's one of the things I work on when I speak in public and when I do this podcast, because you don't realize it, but after a while, they add up and people start to notice those sorts of things. So it's great on so many levels for you. And guess what? One of my speeches right away was on pediatric adjustments. And after that, someone came to me and said, I didn't know that chiropractors adjust children. What's your availability? When can I get in? And they brought in their kids. So you're indirectly marketing your practice. You just happen to be someone they know who is in healthcare. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up answering some questions and talking to them and becoming a trusted source of information. Sports physicals. These are big. In every community, there are schools and there are kids. And where there are kids, there are moms. And guess who is directing the family health? It's mom. Mom is the one who's bringing the kids to the doctor. They're the ones who are telling their husbands to get off their butts and quit complaining about their back pain and get in and do something about it. They are the ones who are doing the grocery shopping most of the time. And I'm not being sexist. I'm being truthful in what I see in my practices. They're the directors of healthcare. I know in my own household, my wife is the boss when it comes to all of that stuff, and we do exactly what she tells us for the most part when it comes to health. When she's not looking, I do occasionally sneak desserts. But you know what I mean. They are running the household and making those decisions for everyone. So you want to do sports physicals because you want to bring those folks into your office. Great way is to reach out to the schools directly, let them know what you do, what you charge, and we donate a portion back to the school. They love it. The programs today, the athletic departments are starved for money. All the schools are starved for money, but no exception with the athletic departments. So talk to them directly and say, I'd like to meet with the athletic director, the coach. I'd like to donate some money back to the school. Here are some coupons. We've had people at the school actually pass out the coupons to the students directly, or at least a flyer, so that those folks know where they can come. We get the forms that are required by the school and by the state right in our office, because a lot of times people forget the paperwork. We do, because the kids are minors, require the parents to be there. We go through the physical process, and then we spend about a minute afterwards just letting them know that we want them to have a safe and happy season. But should something happen, we do treat a lot of sports injuries very successfully. And here's a little more information about that. Great way to meet people again in your community and put your face with your name and let them know what it is you do. Outdoor events, sporting events, those sorts of things where you can set up a tent. I've gone to these before, and these are a good idea. We are very selective in what we do, however, because I've gone to these events, and there'll be 5 other chiropractors there, and we are just one of another, option out there. And I never feel like we really stand out. We're all different in our own unique way, but when there's a lot of us there, we tend to be competing with each other. So in the communities in which we have our offices, we are very selective which festivals and outdoor events, which marathons or runs that we're going to sponsor and be a part of. But they can be very beneficial in meeting people, talking to people. Sometimes we treat at the events as well. Sometimes we just donate our time and we bring massage therapists. But again, it's a great way to get in front of people and meet them and talk to them. Community outreach programs within your office. So these are things like blood drives, food drives, coat drives. We've done them all in our office, and what we do is we partner with various community charities who really, they handle all of this. All we do is collect. We're a collection point, and we put their information on our website. We put a sign in our office, and during the winter, obviously, we do the coat drives. We do the food drives a certain time of the year, but these sorts of things are a really nice way to help people in the community and to have a place a place in the community where they can come drop off those things and make a difference. We put them on our websites so that people know that we're involved in our community and that we give back to our community. And we also issue press releases each time we do those things. We take a picture. I talked about sports physicals a moment ago. We go and we present that check, and then we take a picture of it. And we've had it put in the local newspapers and local websites. It's, again, a great way to publicly help people, and in so doing, you're really supporting your community, and that's how that word of mouth spreads. Chamber of Commerce. Every city has them. We found that in the larger areas, there's a lot of Chamber of Commerce. Commerces. There are the city, the county. Sometimes there's a tri-county Chamber of Commerce. There's an Asian American Chamber of Commerce. There's all kinds out there. I suggest you go visit them, get a feel for them. They all have their own unique personality based on the personalities of the members. Some are partiers. Some are not partiers, and they're kind of boring. There's find the one that suits you and go with it and maybe join a couple. And whenever there's a grand opening in your area, I suggest you show up to those grand openings. You bring your business cards, you collect their cards. If it's someone you might want to utilize their services, do so. If it's a new dentist that comes in town, get your teeth cleaned there and make sure they know who you are. You support their business and they're very likely to support yours. And I've heard mixed things from folks about Chamber of Commerce's, that it hasn't done things from them. And it's really, I think you get out of it what you put in. If you just join and expect suddenly they're going to send people to you, you really have to support the other businesses. And I'm not talking financially, although that's very helpful. Just show up to their events when they have things sponsored through the chamber, and you'll start seeing and knowing people, and they'll start seeing and knowing you. Hair salons. So think about, again, where the moms are going to get their hair cut. Well, they're going to the salon typically, and they're sitting there in a chair for at least a half hour, maybe an hour, and they're gabbing and they're talking. Well, what are they talking about? Well, they're talking about life and kids and this and that. If you can be part of that conversation, that's golden. It's gold, Jerry. So here's what I'm thinking, and I've done this many times. Put together a gift basket. You can put whatever you want in there. I usually put in maybe some BioFreeze or something similar, maybe a back massager. I put that in there before. Various things that you don't have to put a whole lot of money into these. I think our baskets cost around $10 each, and they maybe have 6 or 7 items in there. You bake some cookies, you put them in saran wrap, and that goes in there as well. You put some of your cards in there, and you go out and you talk to the owners of the salons. People who work in salons are on their feet a lot, and they're hunched over their clientele cutting hair. So they tend to have back, feet, neck issues, headaches, those sorts of things. And if you can talk to them about what you do and the benefits of that, and maybe look around at, you'll get a tour of the salon. Some of them are really beautiful and nice. It sounds silly to get a tour of a salon, but ask them about their business, take an interest in them, and then invite them to come check out what you do sometime. You'd be surprised how well this sort of thing works. And if it doesn't happen the first time, don't worry about it. Give them a month or two and go back through. Reintroduce yourself, ask to get a few of their cards. And with all of these personal touches, I recommend when you get their card, you write them a handwritten thank you. This is something that is so rare these days. But if you can write them a handwritten thank you, thanking them for their time, looking forward to talking to them again, this makes a huge difference to a lot of people because it's something, quite frankly, they don't see a lot. Dental offices, same idea. Now, dentists themselves can be difficult to reach. They are very, very busy, just like MDs can be difficult to talk to. But I'll tell you who's a little bit easier, and that is the front desk staff and the dental hygienists. And I've treated a lot of dental hygienists, and we end up treating the dentists a lot of time because the hygienists tell them, hey, I've been going to Dr. So-and-so. He's really helped me out. You should go. And they finally do. And once that happens, one of the things I always talk about is how we can affect TMJ patients. I talked to a dentist patient of mine who is involved in a study in, I believe it's the University of University of Northern Colorado. And he told me that what they are finding is that TMJ really improves the best when it's done in conjunction with cervical manipulation. So dentists treat it with the night guards, but the cervical manipulation is a big part of it, and we see a lot of TMJ in our office, especially after a car wreck, whiplash, that sort of thing. So it's a good idea to befriend those folks in your neighborhood. And while I'm at it, go to the eye doctors as well. These folks are all serving the same clientele, the same patient base we are, but they're not in a competing industry. Their field is completely different. But when someone comes to you and says, hey, doc, I've just moved here recently. Do you recommend a good eye doctor? You can say, yes, I do. Go see my friend, Dr. So-and-so. And this has worked really well for us in both of our practices. Again, it doesn't cost you any money, but it's a good way to build relationships. So there you have it. There are 10 low and or no cost marketing ideas. They're all designed to build and foster relationships. And I'm telling you, building and fostering relationships is where it's at. We can't leave out the social media. We are 21st We can't leave out the social media. We are 21st century chiropractors, and that is part of the world we live in today. But don't forget the human touch. And if you're made of money, you can throw as much money as you want to into your advertising and your marketing. But if you're more into low overhead and maybe you don't want to sink that much into your advertising and marketing, and you do want to care about and serve your patients and reach out to your community, you're going to save a whole lot of marketing dollars, but you're going to build a whole lot of wonderful, trusting, long-term referral relationships with your community. So I hope this has been of value to you, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Thank you for listening to the Chiro Business Mojo podcast. For links to what was discussed in today's episode, check out the show notes at chirobusinessmojo.com. And be sure to jump on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review if you liked what you heard. We'll see you next time.